Hey everybody, I hope everybody had a good weekend and enjoyed the nice warm weather. I know that after being trapped inside for so long, that it is much nicer to be able to get outside and, like we are right now, me and the dog here, sitting out on the deck and enjoying, the fresh air rather than be trapped in the house. So I hope everybody's healthy. I hope all of you are doing well. I hope your family is doing well as well. So let's get to it. We only have 2 weeks left, 6 total days left, and so rather than doing a bunch of uh, crazy, cramming stuff in, I'm starting to wind down a little bit. So really, we only have 4 school days. When you think about it, we have the 3 days this week and then Tuesday next week. Next Wednesday is going to be field day, so we will be posting some activities from Mrs. Markeline and stuff for field day, and then Thursday's the last day of school. So I figured, rather than doing a bunch of cramming a bunch of work in, trying to start unwinding down and doing some more fun things. So your force in motion projects, your vehicles turned out great. The creativity was, really cool to see. And just the way that you guys were able to put things together and use your brains. And what I really enjoyed the most, I think, was the fact that for most of you, this didn't seem like just a project that you just threw together. I heard from a lot of you that, you tried things, they didn't work. You tried to make adjustments, that still didn't work. So you ended up scrapping the entire thing and starting over. That shows me that, number one, you really were putting thought and effort into it and that you really cared. But just watching them and watching all of the creativity that you guys put into it, they turned out cool. And again, as much as I would have wished we would have done that in person, I think this was as good as we could do under the circumstances. So nice job there. So the next science project is going to be your last one, which is going to be the egg drop project. So you'll see the rules. They'll be posted on Google Classroom. Basically, this is a pretty simple concept. You are basically taking an egg. No, it cannot be hard boiled. Okay, so don't even think about that. Can't be hard boiled. You're taking an egg, which we all know are delicate and fragile. And normally, what we would do is you would design something, and I would go on the roof down by the end of the third grade hallway, down above Mrs. Gorman's room, where that sidewalk leads in. You guys would be on the ground. I would lower our lunch basket by a rope. You'd put your project in, I'd pull it up, and I'd drop it. Once I drop it, hits the ground. If it's your project, you went and you got it. You opened it up, you saw if the egg survived or not. Okay? And then if it did survive, then we would go on the higher roof over there above the BAC doors out in the front of the building. Same thing. And we would take the survivors, we would drop it from the higher roof. In that case, normally we would throw it up in the air as well as being higher, so it would go up and down. And then we would see who would survive there. And so again, the goal here is to use your scientific mind and to find a way and create a project that is going to protect that egg from being dropped and broken when it is dropped. So the basic rules are this. Number one, you cannot use anything that is designed to protect things when you mail them, when you're moving, things like that. So no packing foam, no packing peanuts, no styrofoam, no bubble wrap, that type of stuff. So anything that is designed to protect things. So think about if you have, your dishes, fancy expensive dishes, and you're going to mail them across the country. Anything that is designed to be able to protect those dishes in the box, you can't use. Okay, because that takes the fun out of it. Let's be honest. Anyone can take a bunch of a box, fill it with packing foam and peanuts, or wrap it in bubble wrap, put and make it survive. That takes the fun out of it. So go ahead and you're free to use anything else. Be creative, have fun with the project. The other main rule is we want this to be roughly 12 by 12. No bigger than 12 by 12. Okay, again, anyone can take a huge box, fill it with stuff, and then put the egg in the middle, drop it, and it's going to survive. Okay, so no bigger than 12 inches by 12 inches. Okay, shoebox, things like that. But again, get creative. So if we were in school, I would tell you about the story about the time I did this in junior high school. And I took my brother, who's 10 years younger than me. So, I was probably 14 maybe. My brother was maybe 4. So I took one of my brother's baby 4-year-old shoes. And then I packed it with whatever and put the egg inside. And we took it to school, dropped it. Of course, it didn't survive, and it broke, and my brother's shoe was ruined because the egg obviously leaked everywhere, and then I got in trouble. So, the other thing I'm going to tell you is before you use something, ask your parents for permission. Make sure it's not something that they're going to use, okay? Again, like the Force in Motion project, this would be one that we have to alter a little bit. The Force in Motion project, again, remember, scientifically, you would all have the same materials, okay? Scientifically, we would have all used the same surface down by the gym to run your project, okay? And we would have conducted the experiment under the same situation. Here, with the egg drop, you're obviously using different materials, even if you were doing this at school, but the how you would test it would all be the same. End of third grade hallway, I would drop them off the roof, all the same way. Same height, everything. Okay, then we go to the higher roof, same height. Now, obviously, being at home, this is going to be one of those that is not quite as scientific. Okay, we all have different types of houses. You all have different parents and what, the rules are. And so make sure you talk to your parents first. Okay, if you have a bedroom window that you can open the screen and you can throw it out there, great. Some of you might live in a 1-story house. Okay, get creative. Okay, you should not be getting on the roof by yourself with your, you should not be opening the window and with the screen up and stuff by yourself. Safety. Okay, the last thing I need is the last week of school that one of you, injures yourself and because of this project. So make sure when it comes time to actually do this experiment, you talk to your parents and have them help you. Okay, have them help you do this in a safe way. Okay, just like the other project, I've created a Flipgrid, which will be your final video. And so we want you to hold it up and say, well, here's my project. It's a glass cup. Hint, do not use glass for multiple reasons. And I filled it with coffee. And then I put the egg in the middle of coffee and I put a lid on the top. And then you talk about it, show the camera like this, and then go to perform it. Now again, do not use glass, bad example, except that's what I had in front of me. Okay? Show it to us, talk about it, tell us what is in it. Okay, so you might have it in a box or whatever. We can't see what's in it, so you want to tell us what's in it. Okay, drop it, then show us opening it, whether it survived or not. Okay, have fun with this project. Okay, think outside the box. One of my favorite all-time projects, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a little different because at school, when we made messes, it was at school. You know, obviously making a mess in your driveway, your parents might not appreciate. But one of my favorite projects was actually Mrs. Bean's daughter when she was in my room. Miss Bean was in my room in 4th grade. She took a box, a cardboard box, almost the size of one of those cube tissue boxes, not the big one, okay? Reinforced it with duct tape, okay, so it wouldn't leak. You say leak, why would it leak? Well, that's because on the inside she filled it with baked beans and I think grape jelly and all this stuff, and put the egg inside, sealed the top. I dropped it off the roof and it went boom, and baked beans and jelly went everywhere, and it was a lot of fun. The egg did not survive. I did one once that I thought was cool. I took a balloon, put an egg in a balloon, put an egg in, actually there's 3 balloons. I stuffed it in 3 balloons. And each time I filled the balloon with some water. So the first balloon with the egg in it was like this. Eggs floating around the middle. The second balloon had more water. Third balloon had more water. Okay? Because we talked about it as a class. Well, what happens when you drop it? Theoretically, if you drop it, that first balloon pops, the water, then the second balloon pops, third balloon pops. Now, we were trying to see if it slowed it down enough so by the time the last balloon dropped, the egg basically just softly landed. Did not work, but it was a good idea to try. So think about these things. I had another kid, and sometimes you're sure something is going to work, and it ends up not working. At the same time, there are other ones that I have looked at when kids have made and said, there's no way this is going to work, and it ends up working. Okay? So I had one kid once that rolled paper, you know, like in a cone, okay? Put the egg in the top, taped that over, okay? And then I was like, there's no way this thing's gonna survive. Well, it's a cone shape, right? So I dropped it, it landed with the cone, tipped over, and the egg just rolled out. Okay, now, obviously, if I hadn't dropped it straight down and landed on the cone part, it would have destroyed. So, get creative, have fun, and, you know, if it's all right with your parents and you make a mess, you make a mess. But, you know, have fun with it, okay? Yes, you can make more than one project. So if you want to have one that you really think is going to work, and you make that one, and then you make a second one that you're not quite sure, it's a little bit crazier of an idea, great. Make more than one if you want to, okay? Just remember, ask permission for materials. And number 2, when you actually go to do the experiment, make sure that you have parent supervision so that it's done safely, okay? And then the other question that always comes up is parachutes. So if I say 12 by 12 inches, well, you're thinking, what about a parachute? Couple things with parachutes. Number 1, if they are done correctly, they can sometimes help. But what I've most often seen is the problem is that if you don't design it actually right, the parachute gets all tangled and it basically does nothing to slow down the project. The other thing you got to think about is height. Okay, parachutes take time to work. So a lot of times, if it is not designed perfectly, by the time the parachute opens and the air comes up and pushes against the parachute and slows the project down, it's already hit the ground because you're not dropping it from that high of a distance. So if you want to try a parachute, you can, but at the same time, you have to think about the way you're going to design that so that it works out well, okay? So that is kind of the egg drop project. There will be other, as I look at my notes, there will be other kind of just some rules that I'll post on a Google on a Google document that I'll post for you to look at. But that's the basics of it. Okay, have fun with the project. Okay, this again, we would normally do this the last week of school. And possibly there have been years where this has been the last day of school. We've gone on the roof and dropped it. But this is usually our final science experiment project. Use your brain, use the engineering process, the design process, excuse me, you know what the problem is. Think about possible solutions, and then think about, designs, make it, test it, alter it, test it, things like that. Make adjustments. Okay? So that is your egg drop project. Now, ideally, next Tuesday, so 1 week from today, is when we would like you to have this all filmed. That way your classmates can all see it. Remember, next Wednesday's field day, you won't have any work. But you have until the end of the year, which is next Thursday, to get it done. But obviously, I put this as next Tuesday as the final project date to do your flip grid. Okay. I did put the flip grid on for this Thursday, so if you do get it done and you want to film it, it's the same flip grid Thursday at link as it is next Tuesday, so no matter which one you click on. So just because you see it on Thursday doesn't mean you have to film it Thursday. I just put that for those kids that might get it done early. Okay? So a couple other things this week. Hopefully I have been able to fix the Tale of Despero for those of you that were having problems that said it was restricted. At the top of the Google Classroom, I put problems watching the videos, click here. So it gives you a couple different ways that if you go into the assignment and you click on it and it says restricted, go to that link at the top where it says problems watching videos and try those couple of ways to do it. What I have found is if you are using an iPad or if you are using some kind of a mobile device that uses like a Android, that it says to download the YouTube app and it'll work. So for example, my daughter, who, remember, I enrolled her in the class so I could do it see what it looked like from a kid's perspective. So my daughter's iPad did the same thing. So on Thursday for part 3 of Tale of Despero, it said it was restricted, and I was trying everything to unrestrict it, to approve it. It wouldn't let me with the link that normally did. So what I did was I clicked on it and I downloaded the YouTube app on my daughter's iPad, and then once that downloaded, I clicked on this on last Thursday's part 3 link, and it opened up and played right away in YouTube. So that is one possible solution. That if you're watching on a mobile device, an iPad or whatever, you might need to download the YouTube app. If that doesn't work, the other idea I put in that problems, click here at the very top announcement, I put each individual for part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I put each individual web address for that YouTube. So what you would want to do, and this worked too, is I went to Google and I just copied that part 3, for example, that link, exactly that web address, I copied it, went to a new tab, I went to Google, I put that into the Google search and hit it, and it popped up and it played. Or if I went to Safari or Firefox or whatever, and then make sure it's in a new tab, and then just put that in the address bar, and it pulled it up and it played. So that would also be an alternative, that if your link within the assignment doesn't work and it says it's restricted. If you try all that and it still doesn't work, let me know. Don't stress about it, okay? The other thing I did was for the links, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you'll see for the reading Tale of Despero, I create a playlist. So all 7 parts are there in the one link, so you can work ahead. Some of you might have been able to watch part 3 on Thursday, so you're on part 4, other people couldn't. That way all 7 are in one place, and that way you can work ahead if you want to, or if you're on part 3, that way you can work on whatever you need to. Okay, so then a couple of other things. So rather than doing a bunch of other stuff, so you still have your iReady this week, last week of iReady, woohoo! 30 minutes, just like it's been, okay? Last week, and then you're done for the year. But I also figured out how to take our favorite game, Kahoot, and so Tuesday you have a Tale of Despero. It says Kahoot Tale of Despero competition. This is chapters 1 through 7. So everybody should have already read, even if you couldn't, even if on Thursday you couldn't access it. Everybody should have already been read 1 through 7. And it's a Kahoot. So you'll click on the link, and what happens is obviously we're not all playing at one time, but it will then, you'll put your name so we know who you are, not just something that we, your nickname that we don't know. Okay, so put your name. You could add things to it, but make sure your first name and Will's, your last initial, is in there so we know which one. If you want to add things to it, that's fine. Make sure it's appropriate, but you'll put that in there, and then you'll do the Kahoot. Now, Tuesdays is chapter 1 through 7, okay? And then what will happen is that it saves them all your names for the leaderboard. So once people, and it'll start putting you in different places. So instead of it being live and us doing it all at once, basically it's open for the week, and then we'll see who the winner is at the end of the week. That too, there is an app you can download, a Kahoot app, if you're on a mobile device, that you can then play it through. If it pulls up and it won't let you play it and says you have to download and you can't for some reason, then go to a new tab, go to Google Kahoot, and then it'll say in the top right hand corner, it'll say play. Click on play or play now, whatever it is, and then in the assignment I put the game code. You just type that game code in and it should let you do it that way too. So there are a couple different ways you could do that. So you have those that you'll do, and then on Tuesday you have a science and force and motion Kahoot as well. Same thing. It'll keep a leaderboard so we can see who it does the best, okay, and who wins. So that's Tuesday, pretty simple. Wednesday, same thing. You'll have your Tale of Despero, your egg drop, and then what you'll do is I've added the for fun. It's a animal camouflage, like animal adaptation camouflage, but it's a digital escape room. So there are 4 questions that you need to answer to unlock it, okay? And you have to use the clues and figure it out. Now, I did test it last night, and I was able to solve it. A couple of the questions are a little more difficult that you have to use your brain to think about than the others. So make sure that you use your brain. You guys know how to do these. You've done them in library and things like that. So you'll click on that link, and then afterwards there is, I believe, I created a Google form. So you will then fill out the Google form, okay? And it asks, did you successfully escape? Yes or no? Okay, you can try it more than one time, obviously. Have a like a timer there, like a stopwatch, and once you start it, time how long it takes you. It'll say, did you have help from your parents or siblings? How many times did you try it? How long did it take you? So that's where the stopwatch would come in. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you don't have something, just look at the clock and see if you can figure that out there. And then if you do complete it successfully, at the end, it gives you a little digital prize. You have to click on the link to find the digital prize. Take that digital prize. It says, what was the digital prize? Describe it. That way I know that you're not lying to me and that you actually were able to successfully do it, okay? Look, it's not a grade from whether you did it or whether you successfully were escaped or not. It's all about, trying it. So if you didn't, you don't have to lie about it. If you don't escape, then just mark that you didn't. But if you did, click on that link and see what your digital prize is. Now, yesterday when I clicked on the link to see what the digital prize was, it wouldn't quite open. So I just took that link, I copied it, and I pasted it and clicked on clicked on it, and then it opened it up there, and I could see what the digital prize is. So that's the Google form that you'll submit after you do it. Again, that is Wednesday. So I thought, that would be kind of fun rather than doing a bunch of other stuff. And then on Thursday, basic. Again, there's another Kahoot for your audiobook for the Tale of Despero, another competition, and that one is over book 2 and 3. So the first book is about Despero, then you have the second book is about Chiaroscuro, and then who's a rat, and then the third book is about Miggery Sow. Okay? Now remember the way it works, you're introduced to all these characters, and then in that last book, all the characters meet and then they move forward together. The storyline moves forward together. So don't do that Thursday Kahoot until you have finished listening to or reading books 2 and 3. Otherwise, you're not going to know what happened. So that's basically your week. Okay? Again, trying to do some more fun type activities, trying to keep you guys, kind of winding down for the year, okay? Be creative with the Science Egg Drop Project. Have fun with that. Make sure that you, ask parents for permission and don't do anything dangerous. Make sure that your parents are there to and aware and helping you, and film it, okay, once that is done, okay? I think that's it. Obviously my dog here is, very bored by me. Some of you probably look like you're in this same position. You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, when is he gonna be done talking? So, you okay, bud? Huh? You okay? So, anyway, have a good week. We will talk. And then just so I've had a lot of people ask about how my wife is doing after last week, and sorry about that. She is doing much better. She's, from the allergic reaction standpoint, she's still having all kinds of other problems. But basically what happened is, since she can't get all of her other normal medications, her neurologist wanted her to try a new one, which was basically, if you ever seen like an EpiPen, it's called an injectable. Okay, so she basically had this injectable medication that she gives to herself, and it goes in your leg. Well, she did that, stuck the needle, medicine went in, and then the later on she ended up having allergic reaction, had hives, was swelling, was having difficulty breathing. If the hospitals and the emergency rooms weren't full of the coronavirus, we would have definitely been into at the ER. But luckily we were able to manage it at home, and it took a couple days for the allergic reaction to kind of get, subside, and so luckily we're good there. So sorry about all that confusion last week on Thursday, but hopefully you guys all made it through the weekend. And anyway, so I hope you guys have a great week. We will talk. I'll probably make a video Wednesday or Tuesday night for you to watch Wednesday, much shorter than this one. But anyway, have a great day, and we will see you later.
Peace, y'all.